Okay, here's one of those things that really is a huge deal, and I want to tell you how big of a deal it is, but I don't want to seem hyperbolic, but it actually is a really big deal, so it's important to communicate how big of a deal it is. And I'm talking about the census. The Trump administration has now missed the deadline to print the census forms. Now, this is an attack on one of the fundamental institutions of our country. Every 10 years, there's a census. We count everyone. The information is used to make really important and influential decisions about how funds are distributed, how congressional districts are reallocated. Really important stuff that affects our country for a full decade until the following census. And you might remember, when the right was talking about Obama's not going to leave the White House in 2016, Obama's going to declare martial law and suspend the 2016 election. It is counterproductive, bottom-feeding, garbage conspiracy crap, and we were right to ignore it from the left. When Trump says he's possibly not going to accept election results, be it 2016 or 2020 or whenever, those are really disturbing possible attacks on our democratic system. But as I've said before, I can't think of any way in which Donald Trump would be able to successfully carry out not leaving the White House if he loses in 2020. But the census is the census, and it is a huge part of what we do as a country. And we don't have to speculate about what the Trump administration is doing because they're doing it right now. It's not they might do it at some point in the future. I've been telling you for years, the 2020 census is coming up. When we think about the 2020 election, remember, we're also going to be doing the census in 2020. Republicans got to draw districts in 2010. They know the importance of the 2020 census. I've been warning you for years now that the census is underfunded. For a while, there was no census director. I actually don't even know if there is now a census director. And then the Trump administration started talking about, let's put a citizenship question in the census, clearly meant to dissuade even legal immigrants from participating, which helps Republicans by undercounting minorities and shifting funds in ways that are advantageous to Republicans. And they're continuing to do it. They are now citing this disagreement about the citizenship question's legality. The Supreme Court recently said, as conceived, you can't include the citizenship question. The Trump administration says, yes, we can. And now they have missed their own deadline of July 1, the first day of the month, to get the paper forms printed for the 2020 census. And in fact, the forms haven't even been approved by the White House at this point in time. The Office of Management and Budget, OMB, is in charge of this. Now, if you're thinking critically, and I hope that you are, you would already realize it is a huge problem for something as important as the census forms to be controlled by the White House at all. The head of the OMB is Trump's acting chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney. Mick Mulvaney gets to decide if and when the census forms are printed. In principle, the census is supposed to start in 5 months. It starts in Alaska, okay? And then it moves on to other parts of the country during 2020. Trump now is looking, quote, very strongly at delaying the census altogether, which increases the chances that it doesn't get done on time or at all or fully or properly or whatever you want to consider is a possibility of what will happen here. So this is a real attack on our own country. Now, Obama's going to declare martial law. There was never any chance of that. It never happened. Trump won't accept the 2020 results. Well, maybe he will try not to. I believe that if he loses, he will be removed. This is going on right now, okay? I wouldn't put it past this administration to just go ahead and print the census forms with the citizenship question, no matter what the Supreme Court says, because this is an administration that has gotten away with basically everything. Yeah, some people are in prison because of things they did in connection to Donald Trump's campaign and his administration. But this is one of those things where, the Constitution doesn't outline any specific punishment or consequences for mishandling the census. Once again, much like Robert Mueller said in his report, there are other remedies available to lawmakers, meaning it would be up to our lawmakers to say, wait a second, a president delaying a census for political reasons, that's impeachable in our assessment. More than likely, missing this deadline is not incompetence, although there's plenty of incompetence to go around. It's part of the plan, and they're getting away with all of it. Okay, quite simply, if we don't vote this corrupt family out, All of this continues, and on balance, they're going to get away with it. Ivanka, right in there at the G20, having no business being there whatsoever, they're getting away with it. Violations of the Hatch Act, Kellyanne Conway ignoring a request to appear before Congress because of her violations of the Hatch Act. No consequences. Obstruction, I mean, listen, we already talked about obstruction. Are we actually going to say there aren't going to be consequences here? And if I understand Republican elected officials refuse to hold Donald Trump accountable, then we've got to hold those Republican elected officials accountable, meaning they must be removed in 2020, whichever ones are up for re-election, meaning, members of the House and only 1/3 of the members of the Senate. But it's not even clear that Republican voters are interested in holding them accountable. So I don't even know how to put a positive spin on this. But what I can tell you is all of the hypothetical attacks on the systems that we believe to be important foundations of how the United States works, including the census, the attacks are happening right now. We don't have to hypothesize. We know what they're doing. It's disgusting. It's vile. There should be consequences. I'm not confident there will be. Let me know what you think. I'm on Twitter at @dpakman. The show is on Twitter at David Pakman Show. Today's sponsor is Skillshare, and I'm excited to tell you that everybody in our audience is getting 2 entire months of free access to Skillshare when you click the link underneath this video. Skillshare is the site that offers over 25,000 online courses on almost any topic you can imagine: cooking, meditation, photography, video editing, Photoshop, managing a small business, almost an endless list. And whether you're trying to get ahead in your career, maybe you want to learn new skills that will make you better at your job, you might just be exploring a new hobby and you're trying to find new ways to be creative in your personal time, Skillshare's the perfect place to fully immerse yourself in whatever you're trying to learn. I really enjoyed the class on more advanced video editing techniques because it's something I've been wanting to improve at, but have been very busy hosting the David Pakman Show for the last few years. Once again, the David Pakman Show is giving you 2 whole months of access to every single class offered by Skillshare. After those 2 months, if you want to keep your subscription, Skillshare's super affordable at less than $10 a month. Get better at whatever it is that you're passionate about, or discover something brand new that you didn't even know that you would love, and join Skillshare's other 7 million users by clicking the link underneath this video.